Three.
Bowling Green, my goodness!
From the Dash Radio Studios in Hollywood, California, I'm your friend Tattoo, and this is all about the Big Three. Of course, my co-host, director of BIG3 Fireball Operations, the one and only Thomas Scott. T, what's good, man?
Hey, Tat, man, that BIG3 ball out was lit. You know what I mean? And
like the brim.
Yeah, just like you had, brother. It was lit. It was a lot of hoops, man. And I can't wait to talk about it, my brother.
Okay, man, well, before we start talking about it, man, let's talk about you getting lit on the court, dog. I mean, look, it seems like every week, man, we're going to do some special Thomas Scott footage, man. First is DJing, then we out there playing some football. And now, Thomas, man, were you balling up on some of the Big Three players?
Man, you know, it was impromptu, Tat. None of this was planned. It was like a freestyle, you know. Just happened to be a couple guys down in the Ball Hogs practice. So me and Stacey Davis decided to get a little one-on-one. Same with Three's company. Me and Mike Beasley got a couple in. He scored more on me, but, you know, the cameraman.
Yo, for you to even score on Mike Beasley, bro, yo, I salute that one, bro. Good for you, Tom. Yo, Thomas, but Ball Hogs, they need you, bro. They need you right now.
Hey, man, you know, I'm not in the draft pool, but I'm available.
Bro, you're the director of BIG3 Fireball Operations. You could do whatever you want. If you want to get on that team, get on that team, especially right now that we're, 2 weeks away from the regular season into the playoffs.
Well, you know, like if I were to join the team, it would probably be the Aliens. They're already 4-1, so they really don't need me. But I look good in the jersey because I really don't want to get out there.
No, dog, but you know what, man? All BS aside, T, man, you got game. You got game, brother.
It's something left in the tank, just a little bit, nothing much. But, you know, we're scraping out of the pot right there.
All right, man. Yo, speaking of game and speaking of ball out and speaking of Dallas, Texas, your boy Tattoo was able to go one-on-one with co-founder of the Big Three, the one and only Ice Cube.
Big Three.
Yo, hanging out with co-founder of the Big Three, the one and only Ice Cube. Got that fireball in your hand. You ready for that ball out today, Cube?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready, man. 6 games, 1 day. We haven't done that this year.
Yeah, man.
We did a lot of it last year, but this is the first time doing it this year. Got performances. I'm getting down, doing a little stuff.
Gotta do it. You got especially for the ball out, man. The fans get more for their buck when
Without
it's the Big
a doubt.
Three ball out.
I mean? They're here for 5 hours or so we got to make sure we entertain them. We got my man Fat Pimp getting down today. So enough entertainment, enough ball for the whole family, for the whole, for the whole summer, baby.
Cube, and we're this much closer. With the ball out, it means we're this much closer to the playoffs, which means we're that much closer to the championship. What's something that has surprised you season 5, 2022 of the Big Three Fireball this year, man?
Well, what surprised me is, seeing teams like the Aliens come through and show their grit, show their grind. Seeing new players, Gerald Green, he's
playing MVP contention.
Yeah.
Even though they're not getting the W's.
They're losing by 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. So, they're almost there. It usually take you a few games to get your Big Three legs up under you. So, that's great. And I'm surprised by the enemies. The enemies, usually is a team that you never know how they're gonna play. They seem like they pulling it together. They figured out their formula for winning. So let's see how they do the rest of the season.
Yeah, man, a lot of new players in the league that are breaking out, man, becoming stars of the league, man, with these, these great games that they've been having, like a Gerald Green, like a Kevin Murphy, like a Juwan Summers.
Elijah Stewart.
You got ballers in this league, Cube. I mean, what's to come for the Big Three, man?
Well, it's all about growing. It's all about attracting more ballers. It's all about developing our own stars. Fireball is its own sport. It's its own, there's a way to play 3-on-3. It's not like 5-on-5. And so we want to develop our own names, our own stars, our own big name athletes. So I'm glad some of these names that people might not be familiar with starting to show what they got in the Big Three.
Download the Big Three app in the App Store and Google Play Store. Exclusive content, stats, highlights, merch, everything you want to know about the Big Three, download the Big Three app and get it.
There you have it. Co-founder of the Big Three, the one and only Ice Cube, the boss. And he's hyped up for the ball out right here in Dallas.
Yeah, man. Cube is a genius. He's proven that over and over again. And when he puts something like this together with him performing, getting the fans there, all those games in one day, I mean, he knows what he's doing, man. It was an unbelievable day at the Big Three.
All right, man. Now, speaking of the ball out, speaking of fans, it was a packed house. Thomas Scott, director of Big Three Fireball Operations. This is what you do best, man. Breaking down that week 5 of the Big Three ball out.
Big three.
Yeah, and we started out with Trilogy and TriState. Last week we talked, I told you that was a game I was looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint. Jay Rich, he was balling. He had 17 and 8. Justin Dentman, 14 and 5. TriState got off to a great start. But, Trilogy, you see I'm wearing the shirt, Tat. They just have something going on. When they get rolling, they're unstoppable. And when you have Amir Johnson getting 11 rebounds, and you got Earl Clark giving you 14 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, he's leading the league in steals, by the way. I don't think a lot of people know that. They know him about buckets. But then also, somebody that's up for MVP, in my opinion, is Isaiah Briscoe. And he dropped 27 points that night. And did you see that Euro and one, and he put it up with the left?
Absolutely, yo, man. Isaiah Briscoe is one of my favorite players in the league. And surprisingly, TriState 3-1. A lot of people thought TriState was going to take that win, especially with Stack not, there on that bench coaching his team for week 5.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Big Three, man. Any given weekend, you never know who can win. You can't just look at the teams on paper and just say, oh, yeah, this team's going to win. These guys come out and compete. Sometimes it's about matchups and who's going to take advantage of the mismatch. And I think that's what Trilogy did. I thought that, Isaiah Briscoe, they just follow his lead. And then Earl Clark right now is starting to be a perennial scorer in this league and also a defender.
Right. And is Earl Clark just one of the most ripped players and in shape players of the Big Three? This guy is he's like a statue, man.
Exactly. His versatility, right? I thought in the past he was settling for jumpers, but he's kind of getting to the paint a little bit. He's kind of getting his teeth into the defense a little bit more and locking up. And so I like that for them. I think Trilogy needed that as they were without Steven Jackson. And, James Flight White was also player, captain, and coach. And he found a way to will this win. And you can just never count Trilogy out. So, they got the win that night, 51-46. Both teams are now 3-2. So if you look at it, TriState was up there 3-1. And a lot of teams are neck and neck at that 3-2. So week 6 is going to be really important for a lot of these teams.
Big three.
The next game we got was Ball Hogs versus the Aliens. This was a game I was also excited about to see Leandro Barbosa against Dusan Ballou, as both teams and both guys are really explosive. Ball Hogs coming into that game 1-3, Aliens coming in 3-1. Ball Hogs took a bit of a loss, actually a big loss, as Leandro Barbosa got injured with a calf injury midway through. But right before he got hurt, man, that move he made behind the back, the double behind the back, Tat, it was as good as it gets, man.
And he's so fast. He's so fast, Thomas.
Yes, he's the Brazilian blur for a reason. His first step is probably one of the best I've ever seen. And it's hard for guys to stay in front of him. But Stacey Davis and Jody Meeks, they contributed a little bit with 10 and 9 points. But, man, the Aliens, we got to give them a lot of credit. We got to give Rick Mahorn and his coaching pedigree, the way that he's playing. I think the way that their team is playing is very new to the Big Three. It's a lot of movement. They're using all hands on deck. And it's very selfless basketball. It's ball movement and body movement. Dusan Ballou leading the way with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and just making the right reads. And then I think a candidate for Rookie of the Year and also Defensive Player of the Year with Deshaun Stevens, the number 2 pick. I don't think a lot of people seen it, that he was going to be this good. And going at number 2, I think a lot of people question it, but I don't think they have any questions now. His motor is incredible. He's an anchor to this team. And then Tomislav Ivosev giving you 12 and 9, playing physical, knocking down a 3, from the perimeter. They figured something out. And, unfortunately, the Ball Hogs go down 50-37. The Aliens move up to have one of the top records in the league, 4-1. Then Ball Hogs, man, back to the old school tradition. They're in last place.
Oh man, that pig pen is just not working for the Ball Hogs. Something that I think is very vital, what you said, Thomas, is this is an entire new Alien team. It's Rick Mahorn. It's the veteran tradition of coaching that's in his blood. Him being a part of the league since day one, he knows the league. He knows what Fireball is all about, and his coaching skills is what I think is the big difference maker in Aliens.
Yeah, and I agree. I see all the practices, and if you look at that team, they have 4 newcomers. Dusan Ballou is not a rookie, so you have 4 rookies, but really experienced guys that play 3-on-3 basketball. And then you add Rick Mahorn, who's gotten to the mountaintop, won, went undefeated, and you put those two kind of ingredients together, you get 4-1.
Big three.
We had Three's Company coming in at 1-3 and Ghost Ballers 2-2. Three's Company jumped on them early, man. It was 25-9 at the first half, Tat. You believe that?
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe it, man. But I don't think the fans could believe it. Everybody was in shock. I mean, what was up with Ghost?
Man, it just looks like they're losing their energy, their defense. And, I think Mike Taylor's been really quiet. I think his swag of getting going, of just heard one Ghost. I haven't heard my yay from Ricky Davis. They kind of got to get back into their swag and get back into their bag. But you got to give Three's Company a lot of credit. They went up 20 points. And when I was at practice, I saw Michael Cooper talk to his team about ball movement. And when you saw the way that they played and the way they won that game, there was a lot of dimes out there, especially from Michael Beasley, who had
behind the backs, over the hook. I mean, he was everywhere, Mike Beasley.
Yeah, and I think one thing that they did was they kind of let go of being upset at the refs. I think they buckled down to play basketball. They realized that they need each other. They got away from a lot of the isolation basketball that kind of put them in a 1-3 record, and it's working for them. And so I think moving on, that's the type of brand basketball that they're going to play. But also, one thing about me that I thought was kind of strange was only Jermaine Taylor was in double figures with 21 points. None of the starters were in double figures. They didn't bring it that night, and they got
obviously,
down in the hole.
Obviously they didn't bring it. You know what I'm saying? They were losing through the whole game. It's not even like they got close or they tied it or nothing, man. You just saw Ghost kind of falling apart.
Yeah, on both ends. I mean, anytime you have Julian Wright giving you 18 points, 9 rebounds, and same with Mario Chalmers giving you 18, and Beasley playing unselfish with 14.7 rebounds, 6 assists. 6 assists from Mike Beasley, showing how versatile he is. I mean, you're going to get blown out, and that's what happened. They lost 50-36, and they move on to 2-3. Both teams 2-3. They're tied, and it looks like Three's Company is on the up and up.
Big three.
So you had Killer Threes coming in at 2-2 against the enemies. Both teams 2-2. But, enemies got to a slow start. They were without Elijah Stewart, and they were down 26-12 at the half.
Also Agent Zero not on the bench coaching his team. You know what I'm saying? It put, I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on the team when they don't have their star coach right there on the corner either.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to do it by committee. And every piece counts and adds up to W's and victories. Sometimes teams get away with it, but for the most part, you got to have all hands on deck. And I thought Swaggy P did his best to carry the team, to coach the team. He had 17 points, but I thought that he let the refs get into him a little bit, got a tech, got a little frustrated. He also had 2 blocks. But when you miss Elijah Stewart and Gilbert Arenas, those are some of the guys that kind of keep this team going. It's going to be difficult for them. And, Killer Threes, they banded together. They had a full squad. Charles Oakley had their team ready to go. I mean, Dominique Johnson comes in off the bench, adds 15 points with Dante Green. Sessions always is going to give you that effort, that hustle. He dropped 12.
What about that one-on-one fireball too, man? That Frank Nitti had. That was beautiful, bro.
Man, he's very hard to stay in front of, man. He's one of the best with the ball in his hands. He's so quick, he's elusive, he's slithery, and when he's got his swag going and his confidence is high, he's a tough guy to really guard and deal with. And that's what kind of led them to victory.
Right now, Killer Threes is one of my favorite teams in the league. I feel like they're quiet and they're dominant. And I also feel like Dante Green and Frank Nitti playing together, they're becoming like this dynamic duo, man. Like they're feeding off each other, and that's helping them win these games.
Tad, I could totally agree with you, man. You hit the nail on the head. And they also have a reputation of just creeping, right? Like going under the radar. They just win a little game here and there. Next thing you know, they're one of the top teams in the league towards the end of the season. And it looks like they're on that trend right now. And they're in a good spot right now. They won that game 51-35. Now they're 3-2. Enemies 2-3. Hopefully they can get back to 500 next week. Elijah Stewart will be back and Gilbert Arenas will be back. So hopefully they can creep up towards the end of this regular season.
Big three.
Triplets versus three-headed monsters. This was a game I thought was going to be very interesting. I mean, they were without Joe Johnson. Triplets were without Joe Johnson.
Again.
It's going to be tough. I mean, we got to get Joe back, but all hands were on deck for them. Both Pargo brothers had 12. And the Triplets were up 27-20, so they were actually in good shape the first half.
Yo, Thomas, but really quick on Ryan Hollins, where has he's like Superman right now. Where did this come from? I mean, he's been playing in the league for a few years, and now he comes in. He's having his breakout, even with the L. Ryan Hollins is having his breakout year with the Big Three Fireball League, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming in with a different kind of toughness, a motor. He's physical. He plays above the rim. He's a rim threat on defense, changing up shots. And I felt like he took it upon himself to impose his will, given the matchup. Three-headed monsters, they didn't really have a five-man like that. Quincy Miller's pretty tall. He's long, but he's not as strong and as physical. So I think he knew that coming into the game, or Lisa Leslie kind of probably told him, hey, you got to be a little bit more aggressive. But he kind of plays within the flow, and the ball just kind of found him. He had 14 and 8 rebounds. Like I said, they were up at half, but man, Quincy Miller from Three-Headed Monsters just couldn't miss. I mean, he dropped 21 points. He had 5 threes. He was unstoppable from beyond the arc, and he was letting everybody know about it, Tat. I mean, I love the chippiness from that game. It seemed like him and Ryan Hollins got into it a little bit, but it was all healthy fun. But then the star of the show, the MVP right now in my book, Kevin Murphy steps
up. Yes.
I was worried about him because the first half, like I said, the Triplets were up. But then the second half, man, he just took the game in his hands. He hit one big four and then another big four to end the game. Man, he was incredible. He finished up with 22 points. And still a candidate to get MVP. He's leading the league in scoring right now. And right now, I don't think anybody can stop him, Tat.
Thomas, I'm getting me a Kevin Murphy jersey this week. No doubt about it. This week, the jersey on my back is going to say Murphy.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to get you a marker because you might want to get that signed too.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Yes, sir. So, Three-Headed Monsters, they went up 30-17 in the second half. They end up getting a win 50-44. Three-Headed Monsters, best record in the league, tied for it, 4-1 record. And Triplets are just falling. They're now 2-3.
And you know what? I mean, listen, 2 of those losses goes without the MVP of the Big Three, ISO Joe Johnson. They need ISO Joe.
I'm telling you, they need to put out the bat signal, the ISO signal. Just put the signal out, man. Can you please see the signal? We need you. Mayday.
I love it, man. Maybe Triplets don't love what we're saying right now. I mean, we're being honest. This is the truth right now, man.
Man, listen, it may not be right, but it's real. And I think they know it. I think the league knows it. And right now, I think every team is licking their chops. Because Triplets was dominating this league, and now you got some guys that want their get back, and guys and teams that really need these wins.
Big three.
Bivouac versus Power. Bivouac comes in 1-3 record. Power 2-2. It was a physical game, Tat. It was a lot of trash talk. It was a lot of old school Big Three basketball with the Garland and Gerald Green going at it with Royce White. A lot of chirping. It was physical. It was some hard plays, hard
Yo,
fouls.
I thought it was about to go down for real, man. I was like, okay, this one's the one. This is getting heated up right here.
Yeah, man, I was on the edge of my seat. But, we also bring good basketball. There's some showmanship. There's going to be a little chippiness, but we also play good basketball here.
Absolutely. It seemed like after the chippiness and the little, confrontation going back and forth, Gerald Green just looked so sweet. Like his shots were just falling after that. It seems like that motivates him.
Gerald Green has really put this team on his back. Bivouac has lost a few games, but they've always been close. They're right there. Will Bynum's has been facing injury with his calf, and I think they could really use his help. But at the end of the day, Corey Brewer has been stepping up for this team, and he's looking like a guy that Gerald Green and Gary Payton can rely on. But also, I like that bang out that Garland Green had at the end from that pass from Jeff Ayers to seal the deal. So I think
critical shot.
Absolutely, like he's found his niche here. He had some troubles with TriState, but playing with his brother, I think he's at ease. And guess what? Bivouac gets the win. Even though Glenn Rice gave him 14 points and Skeetish Veely kind of probably had his best game, Bivouac still gets the win, gets the upset, 50-43, Tat.
Get official Big 3 merch at store.big3.com. You can get league and team apparel, including jerseys, jackets, hats, and more. Store.big3.com.
All right, it's about that time for our Big 3 question of the week. And that's coming from Classic Basketball DVDs. And, yo, Thomas, he wants to know about the playoff pick.
Ooh, the playoff pick? It's going to be tough, man. I mean, it's still unwinding. You got a couple teams, I think Aliens and, also Three-Headed Monsters right now. They look pretty promising. But, I mean, I still like Trilogy. Man, who else?
I like Killer Threes. Killer Threes. And it'd be nice to see one of these teams that are almost getting there creep their way in, like Bivouac.
Bivouac has a chance. But like you said, Killer Threes, this is what they do. And I think, last year they got eliminated last year, and they were right there. And just by the point system that we have. But you might be right. If you ask me, I think it's going to be Aliens. I think it's going to be Three-Headed Monsters. I think it's going to be TriState.
Yo, man, Thomas, I got to tell you, man, Killer Threes to me, like Frank Nitti has this determination to win. He has like this will, this fire inside of him. And I mean, I'm a huge Frank Nitti fan, bro.
Yeah, and Dante Green has always been a star in this league too. So maybe Killer Threes can creep up in there as well. So I'm going to go with those 4 teams.
All right, and speaking of Dallas, we're back week 6. We're just 2 weeks away from playoffs, championship, all-star game. Thomas Scott, what you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, Tad, I'm looking forward to the Killer Threes versus Bivouac game. Gerald Green versus Dante Green, the battle of the greens. There's 3 greens out there, but they're all players, and they all need these games. Bivouac 2-3, if they can get 500. Killer Threes 3-2, if they can creep up and, be 4-2. Or they'll be right back in that log jam of the rest of the league in second place. But I'm looking forward to those 2 teams going at it. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more Will Bynum going up against Franklin Sessions. But like I said, Gerald Green versus Dante Green, that's a matchup that I'm really looking forward to see.
And look, if Bivouac pulls off a victory against Killer Threes, it will just set the bar. And I feel rechannel this team. And that's a huge win for Bivouac, man. It's just going to motivate them to go into week 7, heading into the playoffs. I think it does something major for Bivouac if they come off and beat Killer Threes.
I agree. I think it really does reshuffle the deck. And that's what the Big 3 is about, man. Any weekend, any week, anything can happen. You can't just look at the matchups or look at the team's records, like, oh, yeah, they're going to get beat or they're going to win. No, like these teams come out and compete, and you just never know. A matchup may work on another team's favor that you didn't think it would. And so, hey, this is one I can't wait to see, Tat.
I'm with you on that. Give us another game or two, Thomas.
Oh yeah, the next one I got is Three-Headed Monsters versus TriState. You know, when you look at Three-Headed Monsters, you think Kevin Murphy. When you think TriState, you think Jason Richardson. I can't wait for these two guys to duel. It's going to be incredible. You know, Three-Headed Monsters 4-1, TriState 3-2. You know, if TriState can get Three-Headed Monsters down, now they move ahead of Three-Headed Monsters, right? But if Three-Headed Monsters can beat TriState, now they solidify themselves at first place, being 5-1. So, hey man, anything can happen in the Big Three. Like I always say, you got Kevin Murphy, who is the leading scorer of the league and maybe headed to MVP status. But then you also got Jason Richardson, who's just one of the best competitors this league has with his athleticism, his leadership, the way he gets his whole team ready to go. And also Larry Sanders, man, DeJuan Summers, they're a tough team to deal with, man. So I don't know who's going to win that game, but I can't wait to see how it unfolds, Tat.
All right, and if you want to watch that game, make sure you are tuned in all weekend long, all weekend strong on the CBS network. CBS is where we're at all weekend. Also, guys, we got to make sure we shout out our big three streaming networks, our platforms, DAZN, Vire, and of course our Big Three YouTube channel where you can subscribe right here and watch all about the Big Three every single week. Thomas, thank you for that preview, man.
Tat, you know I love doing this with you, bro, and I love the Big Three. So, man, I can't wait till this weekend, man. Let's get to Dallas.
Yeah, man, get to Dallas. Get your tickets right now, big3.com. From the entire Big Three League, we want to thank you so much for watching All About the Big Three. Got to thank Dash Radio Studios here in Hollywood for the amazing facility. J-Love, DJ Ski. I got mad love, man. It's your boy Tattoo, director of Big Three Fireball Operations, the one and only Thomas Scott. We'll see you next week right here on All About the Big Three.
Big Three.